Welcome back to the channel, and we're here with yet another engaging topic that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Video games have become a great storytelling medium over time, and they offer one thing that movies and TV shows cannot: choices. While some of the choices don't change much, there are those that lead to difficult moral decisions and change things forever, and that's what we're looking at today. These are the top 10 hardest moral decisions in video games we've ever had to make. Number 10. Life is Strange. While many would argue that the choices in Life is Strange didn't matter too much by the end, since there are only 2 endings available, the final choice in the game still breaks the hearts of thousands of people who played the game. Once everything is done and dusted, the protagonist has to choose between saving the town of Arcadia Bay, which includes hundreds of innocent men, women, children, and elders, or saving her friend Chloe, who has been with her through thick and thin and deserved far better than what the town ever gave her. Whichever choice you make feels wrong and leads to a different ending, and it's hard not to feel guilty for whichever decision that you went with. Number 9. Saints Row the Third. The Saints Row games have always been incredibly goofy, and the stories are mostly about blowing bad guys up and looking like a badass while you're at it. The 4th game has a funny choice that doesn't change anything, asking you to either cure cancer or solve world hunger. But the real moral decision that makes you think in the game is in the Saints Row the Third. Around the ending, you're met with the choice to either save 2 of your important gang members from a bomb that is rigged to kill them, or chase the last man who was responsible for the events of the game and the alleged death of your best friend Johnny Gad. While both endings lead to fun missions, it's undeniable that the ending where you let your gang members die is insanely tragic for an otherwise hilarious game. The protagonist even gets a phone call that asks them if it was worth it, for which they have no answer as they sit next to the dead body of the antagonist. Number 8. Deus Ex: Human Revolution. After spending a while in the game's storyline, augmented characters, which includes the protagonist, begin experiencing glitches that cause pain and other types of disorientation within the characters. The solution is revealed to be an installable chip that solves the problem, and you can choose to take it or leave it, making it a difficult choice in a story about betrayal. Do you want to live with the pain, or do you want to throw away your morals and let strangers mess with your body for convenience? As your instinct already told you, if you take the chip, it is later revealed that the glitch was intentionally caused by the Illuminati, and taking the chip gives them great control over your body. This makes a later boss fight very difficult, as he has the ability to shut down your body if you have the chip inside. Number 7. Mass Effect 3. Now, before you get the pitchforks for including this ending due to the fact that everyone felt like it made little sense and was essentially rushed, hear me out. Despite the fact that these choices don't lead to a satisfying conclusion, they are still incredibly difficult moral decisions to make. You can either choose to destroy the Reapers, synthesize with them, or control them. The destruction ending leaves the Milky Way in chaos, since it uses the power of the Crucible to destroy all synthetic life. The synthesis ending merges all human DNA with the Reapers, which essentially makes everyone the same as them. And the last one, Control, makes you sacrifice the playable character in hopes of controlling the Reapers to minimize damage, which is of course devastating after playing 3 games with hundreds of hours of playtime. It was a difficult decision to make, and it makes perfect sense why everyone was angry by the end. Number 6. Far Cry 4. Far Cry 4 may seem like a fun action game from a distance, but it has a very complicated plot with strong political elements when you play it for a while. Once you overthrow the main dictator that was Pagan Min, you are given 2 very difficult choices to choose from, which would decide what dictator takes over next. The first choice is Sabal, who wants to turn Kirid into a fundamentalist theocracy and will execute everyone who sided with the opposition because he believes sins can only be washed away with blood. The second choice is to side with Amida, who eventually reveals that she wants to turn Kirid into a totalitarian drug state and literally forces children to work in the drug fields. Eventually, both choices are difficult to make and still leave you with terrible aftermaths, making the devil you know a very relatable statement to remember. Number 5. Bioshock 1 and 2. The Bioshock series is known for amazing storylines and moral dilemmas that both have positive and negative points for the player based on what they choose, which alters the ending too. But leaving the more complex themes of the game aside, even the basic act of whether you choose to save or sacrifice the little sisters in itself is something that is a controversial moral decision to make. When I played the game for the first time, I sacrificed a little sister out of curiosity, and it broke my heart, forcing me to reload the game and never try that again. And then, when we get the morally good ending, missing out on those small boosts that you would get by sacrificing the little sisters felt like a good trade to make. Number 4. Fable 2. One thing that you must have noticed with video game decisions is that they often affect other characters or the world, not you personally. That's where Fable 2 made a difference, as the 3 endings have very personal consequences and determine whether you're selfish or a hero. At the end of Fable 2, you can either choose sacrifice, love, or wealth. If you choose sacrifice, it brings back thousands of innocent people that were killed back to life, but you never get to see your dead family again, which was killed too. The love ending brings your family and dog back to life, but the innocent people who died remain dead. And lastly, wealth gives you a lot of money, which is of course the worst possible choice to make. But between sacrifice and love, the two are very difficult choices to make. Number 3. Spec Ops: The Line. Spec Ops: The Line is not a game where your choices matter, and most of the time, the choices are offered very rarely too. However, not every decision has to be something that you could get to choose. It's still something that you as the player press the button prompts to complete. At one point in the game, there are far too many soldiers to fight fairly, and you make the horrible moral decision to use white phosphorus against them, which is banned in the Geneva Conventions. Once you're done, you find out that the soldiers weren't even from the opposition, and you just brutally murdered men, women, and children without giving it second thought. Furthermore, the game's endings are decided entirely by your decisions. Will you choose to kill yourself for your sins, keep blaming a dead person in your delusions for everything that happened, let the army take you away back home once you've caused the death of everyone in Dubai, or kill those soldiers for no reason other than your insanity? These choices are difficult to make and change the ending a little bit, but all point to the fact that Walker is a lunatic. Number 2. Telltale's The Walking Dead. Living in the middle of a zombie apocalypse has always been filled with difficult moral choices, and Lee's story is one that makes people cry even to this day. At one point in the first season, Lee is bitten on the arm, and characters decide that cutting it off might stop him from succumbing to the virus. They have no way to know if this can truly work, so that makes the choice difficult to make right away, especially since having one less arm means you become useless in such a complicated and dangerous world. The decision does not change much in the end, as Lee succumbs to the virus anyway, which makes choosing to cut off his arm even more tragic. Number 1. Fallout 3. Fallout 3 is a game filled with many interesting moral choices from start to finish that may not change the overall story too much, but they do define you as a character. Like how you can choose to save a bully's mother early on, or let her die because of how he treated you. But the most important choice lies in the game's ending. Would you die a hero's death, or live on as a coward? At the end of the game, you realize that you can use a special purifier device that will give the entire Capital Wasteland clean drinking water. However, the room is filled with radiation and will kill whoever turns the device on, and for some reason, the Wasteland does not have a radiation protective suit. So, your choices are to either sacrifice yourself and complete the task, or send your super mutant follower Fox to do it for you, since he's not as vulnerable to radiation as you are. And of course, it saves your life even if he dies. If you live as a coward, even the game judges you for it. And if you sacrifice yourself, you're known as a noble man who followed his father's selfless footsteps. And these were the top picks for the 10 hardest moral decisions in video games. There's certainly more where that came from, but we can only pick so many at a single time. These decisions all greatly made us think about what we're about to do, and have done, and changed the course of the story immensely in most cases. If you like this video, please leave a like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more. And if you want instant updates, hit that bell icon too. I'll see you next time.